Live arena nukers, how many do you need? Which ones are good? That's what I'm going to be showing you in this video. What's up YouTube, it's Orth. Now today I've got a new video for you guys. Everybody wants to know what's the right amount of nukers to take, which nukers are good, what should you do if you get counter picked. So I'm going to break that down for you today guys. Now, a lot of people are saying you need to take multiple nukers and this, that, but you only need 2 arena nukers for live arena unless you get up to gold. Now, once you get to gold, you can then worry about building a third and a fourth nuker. But up until like bronze and silver, you don't really need more than 2 because you would always be able to reliably pick both of them and your opponent can only ban one of them. You cannot counter pick nukers or champions and lock people out from picking champions in bronze and silver. That's only a gold mechanic, so you don't have to worry about that. Now in this video I'm going to show you guys the top arena nukers for live arena I think will be really effective in the meta. If you have any of these, great. If you have more than one, fantastic. I want to kick the list off with a nice and easy one. It is a void legendary. I'm looking at this list and I'm seeing quite a few void legendaries. There are some non-void legendaries in there too, but they are mainly void. The first one I'm going to go to is Kutraxa. Now, Kutraxa is a really good champion. She's got a really good damage on her. She has the extra turn, which is guaranteed, by the way. This isn't a get an extra turn if you kill something, get an extra turn if you do certain amount of damage. Nothing like that. You will get this extra turn all the time, and there's a chance to strip, and it's single target, so it can be very effective into stone skin if you strip off a stone skin of a low resistance champion. I wouldn't really recommend building her with accuracy because you can get sheeped, but it is there if you need it. The A1 has the ignore defense hits, so the A2 can do big damage and the A1 can do big damage. She brings an aura for you, which is always nice to have in this situation, especially when you're building a team and part of your team or a champion on your team can get banned. And then she has the revive on death buff when the fight starts and whenever she kills something. I wish this was slightly stronger. Revive on death buff isn't that great, especially because it's a 2-turn revive on death and she does an extra turn, so it really just is 1-turn revive on death, so it's not really my favorite. If she had something like a, I don't know, like not a revive on death buff, but a guaranteed revive on death, that will be good, unless she obviously gets block revived. But again, it is a good enough champion. Unkillable like Leo could have been good too, but it is what it is. She is a void champion. Maybe she needs a bit of love, but that's the first nuker. The second nuker I want to go to is Leo. Now I'm going to go through like 9 nukers and I've tried to put them in order of strength. I could be wrong. These could be slightly different, but I definitely do believe these nukers are good. You'd be doing well to invest in them if you are looking for nukers for live arena. Now Leo, as we know, can't be CC'd, he can't be slept, he can't be petrified, he can't be stunned, he can't be hard CC basically, unless he uses A2 or his A2 is locked. So if he gets locked by Yumiko Warlord, then his passive ability on his active A2 doesn't actually work, so you need to make sure you keep him clear from lockout champions. But as long as you do that, he can't be Sifi A1, which makes him really, really good because Sifi is going to be a really good champion in this content. He also has a survivability mechanic with him. Now, most of these champions that I put in this list, their survivability mechanic really takes them above the others. Obviously, damage is nice and raw damage is nice. He has 2 AoEs, so that's really, really good. He does have a sheep chance, but I don't think live arena is going to be as riddled with sheep because people are bringing a lot of like offense to their live arena teams. They want to be able to win the fight, not just stall out and try to get the RNG chance. They are going to be trying to win the fight, therefore they're going to be bringing nukers. So yeah, sheep isn't going to be that much of an issue, although it will be a slight issue because his A3 does fear before he does nuke, so this could be a problem. The things that are holding Leo back, I would say, is the fact that he doesn't really do much damage unless he gets low HP. So just like Mortu Peril, This guy is a little bit inconsistent with his damage because he needs to get to low HP. And then we got nukers like Georgid and Rodos who are really, really good, who are just going to one-shot him and not let him do big damage with low HP. So that's the reason why he's low on the list. Mortu's another good nuker since we mentioned him. I wasn't really planning on putting him on this list, but Mortu, I was running him a little bit on my own account. Mortu is really good if the opponent brings a Kaima or if an opponent brings a Yuko or a Wither. If the opponent decides to take a champion that would always AoE and there's no way they can stop it, then you can actually not ban that champion and just abuse Mortu's peril. So you could try to, if somebody's picked a Yuko, if somebody's picked a Kaima, then they can get countered pretty hard by Mortu Macabre because they will be playing into his peril. Other than that, he has a nice AoE. It kind of scales on both attack and HP, which is a little bit annoying because it means for this to do big damage, you need to build a bit more attack. He boosts his turn meter when he gets hit too, and his speed aura is kind of nice. So a bit of a niche one, but can also work. The next champion on the list is going to be a champion that does his own increased attack. This is going to be a theme. The champions that have nice survivability is good, and the champions who don't need too much support are also really good. Now, Heffrak does not need increased attack on himself. He puts it on himself with his A3, and then he does extra turn. His passive is very strong. Whenever somebody on your team dies, he then does his A2, and his A2 is a pretty hard hitting ability. He will do an extra hit if the opponent has less than 50% HP left after the first hit, and it ignores 15% of damage each time. The reason why this guy is not that high on the list, because he doesn't really have much survivability built into his kit. He's raw damage. People are going to build him with Stone Skin. People are going to try him out with Necrit, maybe UDK, kind of things to kind of keep him alive. But yeah, he doesn't really have good survivability, but if you can keep him alive, he can do some big damage for you. Now, the next champion on the list, we have single target Turbot. Now, Turbot still makes the list for me because he's very good with Necrit. Without Necrit, I wouldn't really put him in the team. You can go with Necrit if you can get Duchess and Lockout on your team. He can do quite a bit of damage. He does his own increased attack too, and he's got a massive hitting A3, which does a chunk of damage. I've done a guide on Turbot, so you can check out how to build him or what team to run him with. But with Live Arena, it's going to be slightly different. He won't be as strong as these next few champions I'm going to mention. And the next champion on the list is going to be Georgid. Now, Georgid, for me, isn't one of those consistent arena nukers for Platinum, but for Live Arena, I think he's going to be very effective. He's going to be able to do his big hit A3 and choose a target he wants to kill. He gets to ignore Stone Skin, which is very effective. If the passive procs with his A3, he can almost one-shot everything as long as reaction doesn't proc. And he gets an extra turn. So this guy's kit is very, very good. Again, you need to be able to pick him in the right team. You don't want to get countered too hard by Harimas and Ursagas and all that kind of damage reduction. You want to make sure you kill off opponents with this. His A2 is really nice too. You don't always need to open with the A3. If you want to do an AoE hit and maybe soften up your target, you can do A2, reduce turn meter, which is guaranteed. And then you can do A3 on the next turn. Again, a champion without any survivability, but does massive damage. Now, the next one is going to be a bit of a surprise. You might be surprised or you might not be surprised. But we're getting to the top 4 nuking champions on the list. And this is the first time a defense-based champion is about to make an entrance. Now, Harima is a fantastic champion. She reduces damage of pretty much everybody in the game. Any nukers damage, she reduces it. She basically makes it so Candraphon can't crit, Heffrak can't crit because Demon Spawn champions just won't crit versus her. Mortu Macabre won't crit versus her. So that's a really good like survivability, not just for her, but the entire team. The entire team is much tankier when you bring her. And for a defensive nuker, she can do a lot of damage. She can do pretty decent damage. She can do a provoke that can't be resisted by demons. She won't weak hit demons. So when she's hitting Mortu Macabre and when she's hitting Duchess, she won't weak hit because she's red into green. And also she has decreased defense. Each hit decreases its defense by 5% and stacks up to 30%. This is low-key kind of OP because you get to decrease defense by 15% each time you attack an opponent with this ability. Yes, it takes some time to set up, but I feel like it's a very, very powerful skill, and it's really good. If you get a kill with this ability, then she goes ahead and does her nuke again. So she can be paired with defense-based nukers or increased defense nukers. See if he's a really good champion for increased defense. You'll see why in this video, because she pairs up with one of the better nukers in the game. She pairs well with Rodos. She also will pair well with Harima, giving Harima increased defense. Other sources of increased defense, Mithrala is another one. Maybe there's other increased defense champions that you can run. But yeah, for me, Harima as a nuker for live arena, it can be a very, very effective surprise damage dealer for your opponent to deal with. And she does a lot of other things too. I wouldn't be surprised if Harima turns out to be one of the best champions for this content. When I was looking at this content early on, I was kind of thinking about Harima. Does she really fit in? Do you really have a spot for damage reduction? But if you can get the right build on her, she can be pretty painful to deal with. Next up on our list, we have one of a surprise kind of nukers. My favorite nuker for this content, and it's gonna be Candrathon. I was running Candrathon on stream quite a bit when I was doing some fights with him, and he is a ton of fun. He is incredibly strong. His kit is amazing. He does Veil whenever the opponent boosts their turn meter, so that already kind of protects him, kind of gets him away from single target damage. Really, really effective. His damage reduction is massive. If you put him on a team with Harima, you almost won't die because of how much damage is being reduced. He reduces 40% damage while he's under Veil. He does his own increased attack, increased speed, increased crit damage, and perfect Veil. So he places all those buffs on himself. He has a massive increased attack aura in arena battles. Now, I don't think arena battles and live arena is going to be the same thing, although it might be, because I believe classic arena and 3v3 arena has the same aura. So this is something I'm going to ask Plarium. Does arena battles count for live arena? I believe it does. So he does have a fantastic aura. His AoE ability is a big hitter, and it grants him an extra turn whenever he kills opponent. So if you have like one squishy champion on an opponent's team, or maybe you opened with an A1 and soften up the target, and then you have your A2 available, there's so much utility in his kit, increasing his own attack and his own damage, doing extra turn on killing, A1 that does bonkers damage. This thing hits so hard, and he gets an extra hit if the opponent has buffs, which most of the time they're probably going to have a buff, maybe continuous heal from Duchess, or maybe some sort of buff coming from anywhere. But yeah, Candrathon is my favorite nuker. Not the best, but my personal favorite nuker for this content. I was running him on my own account. My own account doesn't have this many options as this account does, but I was running on my account, and he might be getting the best gear on my account. So if you have Candrathon, you're not running him in Classic Arena because he's kind of out of meta, build him out and try him in Live Arena. You will not be disappointed. He's tons of fun. He's in the top 3, by the way. That was the 3rd best Live Arena nuker champion that I believe will be meta. So we're on to the next top 2. Top 2, we can't really talk about nukers. We can't really talk about anything without mentioning the duo. The Ukrainian duo, the Taras Marishka. Taras is the 2nd best nuker in my opinion in Live Arena, because his damage numbers are insane. His damage reduction is insane. He's impossible to kill. He's literally immortal. He's such a pain. He's such a pain to deal with. Fantastic champion. Broken even. He's just too strong. I don't really need to read through his kit. I'll read through the parts that I think will be effective in live arena. Pretty much anything. Even if you don't pair him with Marishka, he's very good. And the reason is because his A3 does massive damage, and it doesn't really take that much to enable big damage from his A3. All you need to do is make sure you're not locked out and you do buffs. You make sure you're not locked out, you do buffs with Sifi, do buffs with Duchess, do buffs with anybody, do buffs with Necrit. If you can build a team where Necrit lands ally protection on him, or you can build Necrit faster than him to put ally protection on him, this guy would do tons and tons of damage. Fantastic kind of champion. His A1 does decrease attack. This can also be really good because you can just decrease attack the opponent's attack-based nuker, boosting turn meter by 5% for each crit that he does. Stun ability on the A2, then passive for days. There's no way we couldn't put this guy in there, but he's not number one. He is not the number one nuker. Now, the number one I've gone with is going to be the Groom. It has to be Rodos. Rodos, the Lost Groom. This guy's ability to basically solo a entire team, it can't be overlooked. It just cannot be overlooked. Rodos can quite easily take out 2 nukers in one turn, and then on his second turn take out 2 revivers. He is by far the best solo champion, standalone champion in the game. All the other champions, even Taras kind of needs a little bit of enabling, but Rodos can just solo you out of nowhere. You could be just relaxing, chilling, as they say. You could just be big chilling, and then Rodos decides to solo your entire team. I know we all have stories when we felt like we're in control, we're winning the fight, and all of a sudden Rodos takes 2 extra turns on his A1. He procs an extra turn and he kills you with his A3. He procs a refresh from 1 accessory of refresh he's running. He then kills another champion, and then he does an A2, and he basically kills 75% of your team. And then you're left there with, like, I don't know, a Yumiko or something that's not really going to do much. So Rodos, in my opinion, is the number one nuker. So I'll quickly show you a list of the top champions that I made. Rodos, Taras, Kandrafon, Harima, Georgia, Turbot, Heffrak, Leorius, and Kutraxa. Those are all the nukers I believe to be top tier in that order. You guys let me know who you guys are going to be building for this content. Hopefully you guys are having fun. Make sure you're enjoying this content. Do not try hard it too much. I know there's a new champion that Plarium are giving away, but don't worry about that too much. Just enjoy it and have fun. If you have these nukers, build out 1 of them, build out 2 of them. If you get to gold, you can build out a 3rd one. But yeah, make sure you're enjoying yourself. It's new content. Everybody's a noob. If you lose, it's perfectly fine. But yeah, that's the guide. That's the video. That is the ranking. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.